Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to throw lidded containers off of a bigger piece of clay and then making the body of the cylinder that goes with the lid. So the corresponding with the flange systems. There's a handout that I will upload that shows you different styles of lids and the different shapes of lids and how to get them to fit in. So I'm going to throw the lid off of this bigger piece of clay. Probably two lids real quick, and then I'll throw the cylinder and we'll see about matching them up. I do have a couple different tools today. I have calipers, and they're to create measurements of lids, though you can use your fingers too, in case you don't own any. You can also make your own set of calipers. If you get two popsicle sticks, drill holes into them, cut the edges into points, and then you can make your calipers that mark how far apart your lids are by hand with just a couple pieces of wood and even a piece of string to tie it together. So just like normal, the clay's been attached to the wheel. I'm dealing with about 5 pounds of clay because I'm going to do section throwing, which is a little bit different than what you might have seen before. So I'm going to start by centering the clay just like normal. But as I push it down, I'm going to leave a piece on the top. Then I'm going to take my left hand, and you can do this with your right too, and I'm going to cup. My hands are like this, and I'm just gathering the top clay, and now that's what I'm centering. This is going to be my lid. So lids are thrown off of a bigger hump of clay a lot around the world. So here's my centering. And once I'm at this point, I go ahead and open it up. And create the shape of the type of lid I want to make. I'm going to leave this rim thick right now, and I'll show you why in a little bit. Make sure you don't leave water sitting here, because then your lid has more of a chance of cracking. So it looks like a little bowl, because this is the lid upside down. Now to create a flange, there's a couple different ways you can do this. One, you can push in with your finger, and you'll start creating a recessed area where notching it this way. But it's easier to do this with a tool. And what you want is a wooden rib with a sharp angle on it. Then you slow down your wheel, and left hand is inside. I'm going to push in and create what is the flange to the top of the lid. Okay. So now I have an upside down lid. I'm going to take my finger and push down to free that up. I'm going to take my calipers. I'm going to go ahead and stop this. And what I'm doing is going to the wider circumference of it and marking where the calipers will fit. So this flange will be inside the cylinder I make in just a minute. So this is one style lid from the handout. So since this one's done, I'm going to take my finger, push in a little bit, take my wood knife, make a line, run my wire into the line, pull it gently towards me. If you didn't go far enough, you will just cut off the bottom of your lid. So here is the lid upside down, and that's one style lid. I'm going to go ahead and make a second style in just a second. So, and I'm going to use the same piece of clay. And I'm going to make, this lid is actually, this one's upside down. This one is going to be the other way. It's going to be the normal way that it would sit into a canister. So, I'm centering this top piece of clay again, using my fingers to set the bottom of it. Now, instead of opening in the center, I'm going to push down, and you're going to see a little hill of clay start appearing. And that's going to be the knob on the top of this lid. So still making my bowl. And then real carefully centering this. This will be my knob to this lid. I'm going to stretch this out, and as you notice, as I stretch it out, my finger underneath is creating the flange that I made on the other one with the wooden rib. I just made my flange with my hand. There's also, later on, if you get interested in this style lid, by making the middle into a cone, you can make these into ring holders instead of lids. But if I want that edge to be sharper, then I'll take the corner of the wooden rib, push in, and that creates the flange for this type of lid. This is what we call a sinker lid. It sinks into the body of the piece. This is used a lot for teapots. That way when you pour with a teapot, it doesn't fall out. I'm going to get ready to cut this off. Of course, later I have to talk about trimming these. Now, to check its diameter, I have to go underneath. And I usually look underneath the piece to get an approximation of the distance I need the cylinder to be that this sinks inside. Okay. So that's two different styles of lids that are on the handout that is online. So, same thing, get your wire, pull it towards you gently, and later on I'll be trimming this. You can also trim the edge that fits inside the cylinder in case the lid doesn't quite fit. If it's too tight, you can always trim a thin layer off, and that'll make it fit a little bit more. Okay. So next, I'm going to measure this back to the first one versus the second one. And I will say I normally throw the lids first, and then even if a lid doesn't fit right, I save them because eventually I'll find a cylinder that the lid will fit on. Okay. So to throw the rest of this piece, it's just like throwing the 6-inch cylinder or the taller cylinders I've been demoing. Except that we have to add what's called the gallery. The gallery is what the lid will sit on, especially the lid I'm going to put on this piece. So I'm going to stretch it out, compress the bottom like normal. Take the excess water off, and then throw my cylinder. But at this point, I'm going to leave this top a little bit thicker. And do my second pull. Go inward a bit more. And this piece of clay actually has a big air bubble, so we'll deal with that in a second. So remember, with air bubbles, you get the slurry from your hands, and that's what I'm getting ready for. And you can see it right here if you look closely. So I'm going to needle it, push down, needle it again, then push this slurry into it and compress a little bit, and then we'll go back to our cylinder. We'll see if we can fix it. So here's my next pull. Now, similar to what we were doing with the bottle form, I'm going to color this in a little bit to adjust the shape for this canister. You'll also see that I already have a neck ring started. Let me grab my metal rib. I'm going to define that a little bit more. So I'm breaking up the form of what will be the top part that the lid fits on and the rest of the piece. So I'm going to compress this and set it up to about the same thickness as the lid I already created. If they're different thicknesses, you can run into the issue of one will shrink more than the other, and then they're not going to fit together very well either. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to check my caliper quick. And like I said, I usually use my fingers too. I usually go like this over the piece, and that way it gives me an idea of that I need to go out a tiny bit. So I'm going to take my wooden rib and turn it curve in and push out a little bit to fix it. At the point where it looks like it's going to fit with each other, then we just work on taking the piece off. This is the same design as if I was going to turn this into a little coffee pot or a teapot. So what I normally do is take the bottom section and put it with the corresponding lids, and then bag them all together. Now after they're dry enough, then we can check. Today, since this is a video and I'm demonstrating, we're going to see if it fits or not really quick. So we're going to carefully fit it, and it looks like it will fit. So if I had saved this, then it would have all fit together. I will make another one later that I'll demonstrate trimming and adding a knob to this, but I wanted you to see how the lid fits to the body right now in this video.